Good morning all, camelbacktrading.org coming to you this Friday morning, October 2nd. We're looking at the last 4 days of the SPY ETF's market profile here on Window Trader. And just like a general has to assess his battle plan ahead of him, that's exactly what we have to do today as cool, calm heads need to prevail. We've done 2.5 million shares already with 70 minutes to go prior to the opening. Let's assess what's in front of us, what we could expect for all the different situations. So yesterday I said on last night's video you could have either used this as a 4-day balance or up, right? One time frame and up 2 days. I had called it up. Regardless of what you called it, right now we're trading towards the lower end of that 4-day balance, if you'd like to call it. We've been below it. Here is the weekly gap fill from the 23rd. Here is the daily gap fill from the 25th. My pre-market low right now is 330.47. Below the weekly gap, right? But above the daily gap. Which leads me to believe, especially where we've been testing between the gaps and the 4-day low, we're still dealing with short-term players. Right? This market, since the gap's higher, overall, yes, we've had shorts push down a bunch during the days, but overall this market is long. So the question is, as we prepare for battle, is this what we're seeing? Just the weak longs that are giving it up, shorts that will attempt to push in, right? If that's the case, you might see a B-shaped form, right? And then you could counterattack. However, if we gap lower and turn into a trend day down, well, then maybe those short-term players have reinforcements in longer-term sellers coming in. And then you would get heavier volume, elongation, and single prints. So all things that the market will be telling us as it paints its picture in the initial balance and going forward throughout the day. This is day 5 now where tweets, headlines are affecting this market. We're going to get this on a daily basis. You're going to get tremendous amount of information probably throughout the day today. How serious is he ill? Is he not serious? Is it not serious at all? So expect those things. Make sure you use stops, right? Plain and simple. We still have the non-farm payroll coming out in 7 minutes, but I'll be done hopefully with this video before then. So let's go over destinations and a game plan. And I'm only going to give you a couple of destinations because you should have them all written down. So the big destination right now on the upside, right, is plain and simple yesterday's low of 335.01. That's the gap fill. Right? This is the balance. Right? The gap doesn't get filled here or here. The gap fill gets filled from yesterday. So that's the first big one, 335.01. Yes, this will be very important to see if we get accepted and stay accepted inside the 4-day balance. But your first destination right now is 335.01 to the upside. Remember, we had a perfect POC yesterday. That's rare. 336.88, 13 wide. Then we have 337.49, which is our pre-market overnight high, and 337.65, the afternoon rally high. For the downside right now, all these lows, right, are being taken out. Yesterday's low is gone. The next low is 332.88. That's this low. Right now, again, we have an hour, so I'll give it to you. 332.38. Then we have 331.62. That's the big one. That's this daily low, filling the one gap at 331.20. The weekly gap filling the other 329.58 gap. Below that, we have all those single prints that I gave a bunch of times over these past week or so. So if you don't have them, please refer to earlier videos. So what is the game plan for this morning? Again, gap rules apply in context, right? Everybody screams them all the time. This gap right now is about $2.50 for right now where we're trading at 332.50. And by the way, we've rallied pretty good since I've turned the computers on because we weren't far off the low when I first turned on my computers. So we've rallied pretty good. We are at the bottom of this 4-day balance, if you'd like to call it. Do I want to take a short play right here with a $2.50 gap? I do not. Right? See if we have an inventory adjustment. As my risk reward gets better, I'll certainly take a put play. I'd buy the 335 puts that expired today since that's where the gap gets filled. On the flip side, if we open muddle around here. Don't get enough, though. Don't get enough where I like the inventory adjustment, but then finally take out the bottom of this 4-day balance. Well, then I would think the odds of at least filling the weekly gap are good, and then maybe I'd get on board a put here. Maybe I'd get on board a 332 put to at least test to see if we fill this gap and see if they really want to go for the daily gap. Those are 2 early put plays. Remember, your value will be lower this morning, at least to start. Is there a call play this morning? Well, you can take a call play against the bottom of the 4-day balance, right? Against that 331.62 low. I would certainly have a very short leash on that, because if that gets taken out, the odds of filling a weekly gap would be very good. So if you get close enough to it, you want to take a long against it. Just, again, that's not because I think the market's going up to fill the gap. That's just to see, especially, you got to remember, if this is short-term players, very visual points will come into play. The 4-day balance low, the weekly gap high, right? So you can take a long against that maybe the first time. They'll bounce off it. However, if it turns out that longer-term players do get involved, these reference points will mean nothing and they'll plow right through them. So we're going to have to assess as the day evolves. Okay? Plain and simple. So those are a couple of short plays, 1 long play. Again, the 37 years of experience guides you through these type of days for $20 a month as a play-by-play, seeing the profile streamed live. And then the charts. Again, it's only day 2 of the month. They started the month off nice, giving it all back and more so far, right? The big thing, though, is obviously September's range, right? It's a 2-month balance. Weekly, they're attempting to fill the gap, right? If they do, we're firmly in balance. I'd call it a 4-week balance for now. They're attempting. They haven't filled it yet. We're still in balance. So the Bulls' goal is to defend that, right? The Bears' goal is obviously to fill it. And then on the daily, we did close. Remember, one day doesn't make a market. We closed above the 50. Right now, we're below it pretty good. Whether you call this a 4-day balance or one-time framing up for 2 days, the bottom line is we are going to be testing the bottom of this 4-day balance. If you get accepted below it, a good chance this gap gets filled and we get accepted into this 5-day balance. Be calm, be cool, be collected, be smart. Use stops. Have a great day trading, and we'll recap the day and the week at 4 p.m.